All right, on a 3 costs, only a few extra ones of these. Rakan? Oh my goodness. Okay. Actually, I'm trying to think. There was a Rakan, right, in set 6 point. That one, the like light unit sentinels, was that 0.5? Yeah, that was 5.5, right? I'm going crazy. In any case, that's the last time I saw Rakan, so cool to see Rakan again. He's a mystic. He's one of these like 3 trait mystics, kind of like how Nami was. He's a Ragewing Guardian and he's a mystic. Giving mystic to Ragewings, that's really interesting. Oh, and Seraphine's also a mystic. Wow, okay. 105 mana, 0 to 105. So there's a world where he doesn't cast. At least he's a Guardian though, so we'll see. He dashes to the furthest enemy within his attack range, disarming all units that he passes through for a good amount of time, and taunting his target. Then, for 4 seconds, he creates a shield and his attacks grant him an additional shield. What? The furthest enemy within his attack range. So I guess he's ranged because he's like slightly ranged because he's Rakan. Maybe he's like 2 hex range or maybe even 3. So he dashes, disarms all the units that he passes through, and taunts his target. Then he gets a shield, and his attacks give him another shield. I don't know how this is going to play out. I guess it depends on how big his range is. But so you like frontline him, and then he dashes to an enemy and disarms. Like he could disarm like the whole front line if his range is like 2 or 3. So that seems really cool. And then he gets the shield. Seems really interesting, especially when he has Ragewing, right? So that seems really good for Rakan, right? Because he's getting the shield every time he attacks, so it synergizes really well with Ragewing. That's really interesting, actually. I don't even know how to evaluate this, really. I've never seen an ability quite like this. I have to play with this. This seems really cool. All right, Rengar. Oh my goodness. I've never played with Rengar in TFT before, I don't think. I don't think I've played much of a set that has Rengar in it, so it's really cool. Okay, 40 out of 100. Okay, passive. When Rengar kills an enemy, he roars and then permanently gains 1 stack's Bone Tooth Necklace up to 20. Okay, each stack causes him to ignore 1 armor, and he leaps to the lowest armor enemy. So this is the actual ability. He leaps to the lowest armor enemy, dealing physical damage and getting 200% attack speed. So he's just going to be, not jumping around all the time. There's no like reset element or anything like that. But he will be able to jump to the lowest armor enemy. So a lot of times backline, right? Though also he's going to, I guess this is just that he ignores armor. So his ability doesn't actually like shred armor. He just ignores armor himself. Okay, this could be a really cool like 3-cost reroll comp. You're rerolling around Rengar. Oh, he's also an assassin. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, so yeah, he's going to jump to the backline, be auto-attacking the backline a lot, ignoring a ton of armor, and then he's going to be jumping around the backline, gaining a bunch of AD. Seems like a really fun assassin that, he doesn't need something like a rapid-fire cannon or anything like that because he can just jump around the backline, so you just want him to keep going as long as possible. And eventually he'll kill the whole backline and then go to the front line. Really cool that it's the lowest armor enemy. I wonder if there's any weird ways you can use like some frontliner with 0 armor to bait him. That sounds really cool. And you could even like put an armor item on your primary carry so that Rengar jumps to someone else, which I don't know. If Rengar is like, if there's a Rengar comp that becomes really dominant, then you could think about, okay, I'm gonna put on my carry, probably not like a Bramble Vest, but maybe like Edge of Night should give armor, right? Because it's I guess this doesn't tell you. Yeah, like Edge of Night. Edge of Night seems really good versus Rengar because it's going to give armor to your carry, so then he'll end up jumping to other units. So that seems really, really cool. It seems like a really fun unit. Okay, Seraphine. She's a Lagoon Evoker Mystic, so a lot like Lulu, but she's a Lagoon instead of a trainer. Huge mana cost as well, 50 out of 125. She sings a Serenade of the Seas, granting a shield and 2/4 mana per attack to all allies within 2 hexes. Whoa! Okay. So she gives a big shield to allies within 2 hexes, so it's going to be an AoE, so you want her like more towards the middle. Maybe you could even put her on the 3rd row so that she can hit your front line as well. That seems really good, because it's only 2 hexes, right? So if you don't put her on the 3rd row, or if your front line moves up, but she doesn't move up, then she's never going to give them the shield. I guess she could even, depending on her stats, she could even end up being like kind of a frontliner. But I'm sure you want this to give to your backline as well. So ideally, you put her on like the 3rd hex and she can hit everything. And then mana per attack. So that's really cool. So it's kind of a unit that can help give your units mana if they don't have that already. That's really cool. Okay, and then Zeri. Okay, she is a Lagoon Cannoneer, 40 out of 80 Water Shock Laser. She fires a water pulse filled with electricity at the closest enemy within 2 hexes, otherwise at the enemy that is closest to the center of the board. The pulse explodes, dealing damage and creating a laser behind the target that deals magic damage to all enemies hit. What? She shoots a target, it explodes, and then creates a laser behind the target that does magic damage? That seems really interesting. I don't really know. Okay, so you want her to... I assume it goes in a straight line, so you want her to be sort of like Deja or like Sona, where you want her to be on one side and the enemy carrier to be on the opposite side, so that she shoots at the closest unit and the laser goes through them and hits everything else. Seems really interesting positionally. And she's a Lagoon Cannoneer, so that's interesting. She gets the AP, but then also... I don't get this unit, huh? It's a Lagoon... I mean, Lagoon gives attack speed, so you just played for the attack speed, I guess. But she's Lagoon, so she gets the AP and attack speed, and then she's also a Cannoneer, so she really wants a lot of AD. That's an odd combination of traits. I'm interested to see how this plays out. Reminds me of like some of the twin shots last set, something like Lucian, where he was like, one trait cared about AP, the other trait cared about autoing a lot. But I mean, twin shot at least, it still cared about AD. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, on to 4 costs, a few more of those. Graves is a Tempest Cannoneer, okay. 0 to 40, it's his quick draw. So his attack, spread in a cone of 4, okay. So this means interesting positioning things. You want him to hit as many units as possible with his cone. So you think way back to like, what was it, set 1 or something like that, where there was a Graves? I remember like when I really like first started playing TFT, there was a Graves, and people always talked about, okay, how do you position so that Graves hits the most amount of units? You want him to get the most amount of units in that cone. You don't want him to just like hit 1 unit. So that's interesting. We'll figure out some positioning stuff, I guess. Maybe I'll have to look back at some of the stuff on Graves' positioning way back then. In his active, he dashes towards his target, firing 2 autos, and grants himself armor and MR. So kind of like, it's, Graves' E from the actual game, but he's going to be like dashing in, gaining armor and MR, but he's a Cannoneer, so he'll be like kind of tanky, but also dealing damage. This is a very low mana cost. Yeah, this seems very interesting. Like a tanky Cannoneer that's going to be like running in and like autoing a lot. It seems really kind of interesting because like Cannoneer, like in this in set 7 base, there's no like tanky Cannoneer. They're all backliners, but he's like a bit more of a frontliner Cannoneer, so that seems really cool. All right, we got Jayce. He's a guild shapeshifter. Okay, so he transforms into his melee form. He makes his AP Mercurial Judgment. He slams the ground, dealing physical damage and knocking up enemies. So really good CC, a nice frontliner for guild. Then Mercury Judgment. He leaps in the air and smashes the ground, dealing physical damage, gaining I don't know what this is. Gaining something, maybe HP. Surely it's HP, and another 100 health shield per enemy struck. So you want him in the middle, CCing the entire enemy team with his transformation, and then casting this multiple times, tanking through all of them. Really, really interesting. So just kind of like a frontliner for shapeshifter. Though there's still, because Nico is getting taken out, so he's kind of like the new Nico, right? He's a shapeshifter frontliner, but he's guild instead of Jade. That gives Guild a really nice frontliner. That's something that I found kind of awkward with Guild. If you want to play like Turbo Vertical Guild, is that their only frontliner was Sejuani. Is Sej still in the game, by the way? Yeah, they didn't take Sejuani out. So now you can have Sejuani plus Jayce as your frontliner, and then you can figure out what shapeshifter or Cavaliers you want to get in. Okay, Nilah, or is it Nilah? I haven't looked at it really. It's the new League champion, so if you're not a League player, she's the new League champion, the most recent one, I believe. She's a Lagoon assassin, so like an AP assassin, I guess. She cracks her whip at her target, dashing through them and dealing magic damage. If this does damage to a shield, she steals some of the damage that she deals to it. I don't know what it means she steals the damage. If her target is shielded or killed, she instantly recasts, resetting assassin, dashing around. Oh god. Okay, so assassins are definitely going to be a big thing this set as well. Okay. If she steals some of the damage, does that mean she like steals the shield, I guess? So she gives herself a shield if she does damage to a shield. So she's an anti-shield champion? That's pretty cool. Because you don't really have that. We haven't had that in TFT in a long time, since like Volibear, set 5. Really cool. Okay. I think this looks great. Yeah, so an AP assassin carry that gets resets. Sounds very fun, and I'm sure a lot of people will hate it as well. All right, and then the last new forecast, Pantheon is a Whispers Warrior. Okay, so that's interesting. So this can like cap out the Warriors comp, so maybe Warriors can actually be a bit more of a vertical. 30 out of 60 Aegis Assault. So he takes a lot less damage. That's insane. Okay, so he'll be a really good frontliner, I guess. He's going to brace his shield for 2 seconds, doubling the effectiveness of his passive, so he's going to go up to 40% damage reduction. Holy crap. And 50% at 2-star, dealing physical damage in the area in front of him over the duration. Enemies hit have their incoming healing reduced. He's healing reduction as well? This unit seems nuts. This unit, like, actually seems insane. Though, I mean, I guess, and he's a Whisper, right? So he's reducing their healing and their armored MR, and he's an insane tank. Seems like Pantheon and Siphon are going to be, like, best buds. Siphon's going to be wrecking front lines. Pantheon is going to be a really good front line, so that while Siphon's dashing to the back, they stay on Pantheon. Makes me think of like Shoyu and Nico, their dynamic this set, where Nico tanks up all the enemy's hits, and then Shoyu just beats the crap out of the front line. That's what Pantheon's going to do here. He's going to be super tanky. Just tank forever with this. Reducing healing, and then Siphon can wreck the backline. So it seems really cool. All right, and there's one more page of units to get through. This is all the dragons, so there's 5 new dragons to look at. So Nomsy is upgraded to a dragon. It's that prodigy, as we saw before, dragon, and then it gets one of these traits. Okay, lobs a massive fireball towards her current target that explodes on impact, dealing magic damage to enemies with 1/1 hex, and bouncing additional firewalls outward that deal more of the damage. Okay, so completely different than her current spell. So it shoots one that explodes on impact and deals AoE damage, and then bounces outward. Okay, so you want her to be able to hit like a big group of enemies. It's also towards her current target, right? Not towards the biggest group of enemies. So it's similar to Anivia this set, where you want her to be hitting the middle of all the units. So you probably want to like middle Nomsy. So that's really interesting. Zippy is a guild dragon. Okay, that's crazy. Guild dragon. Oh wait, that makes me want to go back to guild and see what bonus Zippy gives. I don't know anything. Oh, it's one of these, right? Yeah, it's here. Okay. Zippy gives armor and MR. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. So Zippy's going to give armor and MR, and it's going to give you a lot of guild, right? It's going to give you 3 guild in already. So it seems like it could just be a nice, like, solo frontline, basically. It's going to give your entire team more, not like solo frontline, but like sort of like a splash frontliner, I guess. So Zippy shields himself for 2 seconds and somersaults towards the highest. What the hell is this going to be? And somersaults towards the highest % health enemy, dealing physical damage and knocking them back slightly. Okay. Highest % health enemy, so it's going to be, jumping around frontline usually and doing small knockbacks and getting a big shield. So yeah, I think this could be like just a good like splash as your frontline. So say you have 2 bruisers, you get Zippy in as your last frontliner, gives your frontline a bunch more tankiness because of the guild bonus. And then it's also just a nice frontline. So this seems like a really cool splash unit. Oof, more splash units. I love that. Like the more splash units there are in the game, the more flexibly you can play. Really cool. Sohm is a new dragon. A Lagoon Mage dragon. Okay. Really cool. Okay. So they're Lagoon and Mage. So this is like how you cap out the Lagoon comp. 0 out of 40. Very low mana cost. So blue buff maybe. Sends out a tide to an unmarked target, marking them and dealing magic damage, a small amount of magic damage to enemies along the way. They transfer to a nearby target if enemy dies. After 3 casts, his next cast instead summons a vortex under each tide velocity, dealing magic damage to enemies in an area. So he's going to send out all these little marks, and then once he gets to his 4th cast, or every 4th cast, he summons these vortexes. So you want him to cast a lot. You want fights to go relatively long, so he has time to do all of these casts, before the fight's over. Wow, definitely seems really interesting. I'm hyped to play around with Sohm. Seems like a really cool mage carry and a really good blue buff. So this is a high cost blue buff carry. So my prediction is that blue buff is going to be way better this set, because you can pivot into Sohm very easily with blue buff. Whereas like this set, there aren't any like 4 cost or 8 cost carries that really care about blue buff. But now you can just slam blue buff early game on your Talia or something, and then late game you can pivot it to Sohm, which seems really, really cool. Okay, and then our last 8-cost dragon is Swain. So he's the Darkflight dragon. 60 out of 120, so big cast. He's not a shapeshifter, interesting. So he releases his Dragonling Flank, launching 8 Dragonlings towards nearby enemies that each deal magic damage to their target, then return to Swain. So he sends out a bunch of little guys, they deal damage, and then they come back and then heal him. Okay. Seems really cool. And it's a pretty big mana cost. Is this all per Dragonling? Are you telling me that he's gonna... I mean, there's no way 8 Dragonlings times 12, there's no way he's healing 96% of his missing health every cast, right? But this number seems very low, so I imagine this is per Dragonling. I don't really get this. I don't really get this 12% number. I guess we'll have to see. But, like, if this is per Dragonling, then he's healing, like, to full every single time that he casts. But, I mean, this is, like a good amount of damage times 8, right? I guess maybe some of the Dragonlings will miss? I don't really get it exactly, but it sounds like they come out and they come back. What happens if they don't hit a unit? Do they not heal him? I mean, I guess, you know, they won't deal damage. Yeah. And it says towards nearby enemies. I imagine it was kind of like in a cone, but maybe it's something else. Maybe they just go out kind of like Kaisa missiles or something. I'm not sure. Really interesting unit. I'm interested to try this out. I don't really get what he's going to be. Sort of like another carry you want like Archangel stuff on so that he will cast a lot. Another really cool to have some more AP dragons to play around, because right now like Dage is the only dragon that you can roll down for at like level 7, level 8 and comfortably hit, so it makes playing AP very awkward. But more of this means that you can definitely play around more AP, which seems really interesting. Because I imagine this is AP, right? They deal magic damage. I imagine it scales with his AP. Yeah, Darkflight, there's no reason Darkflight just gives HP. Okay, really interesting. All right, and then our last new unit is Terra, the 10-cost Monolith Dragon. Earthquake, 40 out of 80. Terra stomps 3 times, causing an earthquake around them, dealing physical damage. A huge percent of their combined armor and MR plus 200% of their AD. At the end of the earthquake, Terra skills are hardened for 8 seconds, granting 200, 300, 5,000 armor and MR. Oh my god. So very tanky, but no CC, right? This just does physical damage, and then they get really tanky. It's sort of similar to like Itis, right? Just a very, very tanky big dragon. We're getting so many new dragons. Wow. This should be really interesting to play around. Just because there are going to be more dragons, but you can play multiple dragons, right? You can play Terra plus Sohm plus, you know, Zippy. And then there's the stuff from these the dragons that Nomsy will summon. So Tristana is the only one we have so far. It gives Nami 8 bonus AD, and then fires explosive charges. Yeah, it's the same as current, right? But it's only 1 charge instead of 2. Okay. Really, really interesting. Some very, very cool stuff here that I can't wait to play. And oh my goodness, PBE comes out on Wednesday. So this video is going to be coming out on Sunday. Only 3 days away from PBE. I will definitely be spamming some games on PBE, playing with all of this new stuff. Seems really fun. I really like the change to Dragon. That makes it so you can play multiple dragons. Means you can play way, way, way more flexibly around dragons, as opposed to before when, you know, it feels like you kind of, you know, you could only play one dragon and couldn't play that flexibly. Now you can splash all these units, having some really good 4 and 5 cost splash units. You know, like Jayce, not really. The one I'm really thinking about, though, maybe even like Pantheon could be some kind of splash. But I'm really thinking about like Nomsy, or not Nomsy, Zippy is like a really good splash frontline. The rest of these, I guess, we'll have to end up seeing. Like, you don't really want a bunch of Lagoons in a random comp. I mean, Terra obviously seems like something that you could really easily splash and just have a really good frontliner that does damage too. I can't wait to try that out. And just all the new dragons seem really fun. I honestly thought like dragons are really fun units to play around this set. It's just that like having so many, or not really so many, but the fact that you can only play one makes it a little bit difficult to like play, to be able to play all of them. Sometimes certain ones just aren't strong. You know, like if Shyvana's not strong, then she's seeing like no playtime. But, you know, like now if Shyvana's not super broken, you can always like splash Shyvana in a certain comp. Though, I mean, because they give 3 of a trait, you do want to use them to cap out. And because they take up 2 slots, it's not like you're going to just randomly throw in one of these dragons that's like garbage. Like, I don't think you'll randomly throw in an Aushin to a lot of comps, but we'll see. Seems really interesting changes. I can't wait to play around all these different units, and I can't wait to make some videos on PvE. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, helps out a lot, and check out the link to my Twitch down below where I go live a decent amount of the time. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.